Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here with my good friends Keith and Torin. Going to be a fun show tonight, I think. I am medium energy, so that's good. But yeah, it's good to see you guys. Good to see everyone in the chat. That's quite a few of you guys there. Um, Before we get into the chat, just want to say hi to you guys. Keith, how are you doing? How was your Saturday, and what's on your wrist?
Saturday was good because it's an extremely nice day today, just a random nice day, which means right now it's extremely windy and rainy.
Yeah.
So if my internet doesn't go out, my power doesn't go out, I'll consider myself lucky. So hopefully I make it through the whole show. But I
Yeah.
could hear it uh, a lot outside. Um, and I will say, I'm in the middle of watching a watch review, and it's 40 minutes long. And I'm like, part of the appeal was like, what could they possibly talk about for 40 minutes? So I'm like 15 minutes in. I feel like they've covered everything. I don't know what's left, but I'm looking forward to
What
seeing.
review is that?
It's on a Grand Seiko 40 millimeter automatic black dial. I
That
forget
narrows it
the
down.
yeah, I
Yeah.
forget the name of it.
So it's not a high beat.
It's not a high beat, just a
So
regular
it would be
automatic.
SBGR something
I'll
or
have to
other.
look it up in my history. I'm so bad at remembering that stuff. But
All right.
it's a current model. I know that.
Okay.
But we're
Cool.
in the Hamilton. Everyone knows what it looks like. We've all seen it
Yeah.
before, but that's what
Hey,
I'm wearing.
still fun to go full screen. Torin, how was your Saturday?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah.
Did my traditional hike with my twin brother.
Okay. So you did go hiking?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't where you think I was today.
Oh, okay. I saw the YouTube short come in and I was like, oh, there's I
Yeah.
wonder if he got anything.
So that's a funny story because Sanjay, I watched your YouTube review comparing the White Birch Spring Drive to the White Birch High Beat,
Yeah.
and it was funny because the day that came out, when was that? Was that
Yesterday.
Thursday or Friday? Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually went to your authorized dealer on Thursday. So I
Oh,
was there Thursday.
yeah.
I brought my white birch because I wanted to make that comparison as well. But I just delayed putting out the YouTube short.
Yeah.
But I did kind of go there with a plan. You guys might have known that, I was tentatively going to be moving one of my Grand Seikos, which is the SPGN 003. Sorry,
Mhm.
Keith. I
Terrible
know.
choice. Terrible
I know.
choice.
But I kind of redeemed myself because I picked up something new. It's also a GMT.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, SVGM. What is it? 221 or two two?
321.
Yeah.
Yeah, great
Wait,
choice.
wasn't the point of getting rid of the SPGN because you had the Sua and the white birch, or
It was, yeah. And
what
now
happened?
I also have a Tudor GMT. So the fact that I don't know. There's something just about this dial though,
Mm,
and it really does it for me, and it's quite wearable. I was surprised because I thought it might be because it's what 39.5 millimeters, and I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily on paper like having 19 millimeter lugs. This strap is actually 20 millimeters. I just squeezed it in there, and
Yeah.
I finally pulled the trigger on a deluxe strap, so hopefully that'll come in about a week, and I can
Yeah.
be like Sanjay and be rocking the deluxe and Grand Seikos.
Yeah. Yeah. No, congrats, man. That's really exciting. That you got the 221. That's incredible. Incredible watch. So
I had a couple of contenders. I don't know if we want to get into it now, but I can talk
sure,
about.
yeah, let's hear it.
yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear
It's not my show, but I want to hear it anyways.
it.
Well, we talked about it last week's stream, right, Sanjay? I was kind of interested in an Oris Pro Pilot X.
Okay,
So
yep.
that's the skeleton movement 10-day power reserve.
Hmm.
And your AD was very gracious. They didn't have it at your location, but the guy we talked to, John, he actually got it transferred from their other Toronto location. So I was
Yeah.
actually able to see it in person. It's just surprisingly, he wasn't going to move too much on retail price. I
Oh
got a better
wow.
trade in value on my Grand Seiko for another Grand Seiko.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's just
Surprising, yeah.
because like the retail is $9,500 on that watch.
Mhm.
Now he gave me like a great trade in on my old Grand Seiko, but I brought a couple other pieces I could trade in on top of it, and it's just the delta was still a little bit higher than what I
Yeah.
could get just to trade in one Grand Seiko GMT for another one. So
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
and I tried on your favorite watch, the Gray
Which
Side of the Moon.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, that would look so good on your wrist, man. You have the wrist
It
for
looks
it?
awesome on my wrist. I don't know. I don't want to say anything negative, but I think it wouldn't look as good on your wrist. But
I hear
I think
you.
everyone has said that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna quickly jump into the chat, say hi to everyone. Dan, how's it going? We've got Neff, we got Peter, James, Duffy, good to see you. Bill K, asking me not to do a review on the Constellation. Rick's here too. Good to see you, Rick. Hope you're doing well. Brian, show don't tell. How's it going? Good to see you. Darren's here. Hey, Darren. Good to see you. And we've got Mr. Rob, Bobby Legs. Good to see you. Right next to Hobby Bobby. Good to see you. BJ, how's it going? Caliber YQG. Good to see you. Tennessee Mike, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Pale Horse, same watch, or same. Hope I'm saying that right. Oil Money is here too. Feeling pretty infinitely valuable right now. It's good to hear, man, because you are. Roy Jr., good to see you. And Ken Spear. Kevin S is here. And Random Rob, how's it going, sir? Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Grand Seiko is the best. Right?
Oh boy.
Oh, there you go. Kevin S with the reference SBGR 317. Easy Clayton, good to see you. Globemaster is still around. I haven't done a review, right? So, hey, Justin. Sarmad, good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well as well, sir. Let's see. Rick appreciating the white birch comparisons. Lots of congratulations to Torin on the SBGM 221.
thanks.
And yeah. Poppy legs. I'm glad you didn't get the Aura store.
That
Hey,
could be one of
Colin.
the popular opinions we talk about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good to see you, Colin. Hope you're doing well. Marat's here as well. Good to see you. Hey, Matthew Davis. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Chris Ward. Benjamin. How's it going? Great name there. Asking me what I think of Panerai. Ross saying Chase is the best. Panerai, I don't have the greatest impression of Panerai. I do like the look of Panerai watches, but there's a lot of baggage. At least perceived baggage that comes with the watch. For me, at least. Maybe I'll get over that at some point. But yeah. Matthew Davis is wearing the SPGY 002. Oh, seriously? No way. Congrats, Matthew. That's exciting. That's a yellow gold snowflake with the manual on spring drive. Wow. Wow,
The
that's
stunner, as they
huge.
say.
Yeah, that's the gold stunner. Wow. Incredible. Congrats, Matthew. Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you as well. All right. On my wrist, just quickly, I have the Constellation from last week. I took it off my somewhat unpopular NATO strap, but I had my fun with it. Every once in a while, I like to throw a watch on a NATO strap and enjoy that.
I don't think
feel.
I've ever seen you with a NATO strap on your watch.
Yeah, it's very rare, very rare. I love the look of a NATO strap, but it's rarely worth it for me because the watch is my wrist is really small. It adds thickness to the watch. I'm very sensitive to thickness on the watch, So NATOs usually are a no-go for me. But every once in a while, I like to do some NATO action. Neff asking, is that the Zenit strap? Yes, it is the Zenit strap, which used to be the Necton strap. So I bought this strap specifically for the Omega Seamaster Necton, and it's made a few new homes.
I don't know, man. That strap's got bad omens on it. Everything it touches leaves.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of unpopular opinions. And I was thinking we could talk about collecting, serial collecting. Something I heard a couple of guys talk about on a different podcast related to fountain pens. My other hobby that I've been really good at not mentioning here. So yeah, I think that's the first time I mentioned pens in like a month. So pat on the back for that. But
so is your level of interest has continued even though it hasn't been mentioned?
No, my fountain pen level of interest is gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was plateauing pretty hard on fountain pens. Now it's just dipping like crazy. But I can't write with a ballpoint pen or a gel pen or a roller ball without just being in complete disgust.
Oh, okay.
It has to be a fountain pen. So even though I'm not as researching a whole lot of inks and pens and papers and stuff like that, I'm still spoiled, and that part of the pen hobby has permanently ingrained itself into me. So yeah. Oh well. Ignorance is bliss, as they say. I miss the days where this awful Grand Seiko ballpoint pen was really nice.
I'll take it off your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd give it to you if you want it, but I do like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the trigger for this conversation for me was Jean-Claude Biver mentioned he was going to start up a brand. I don't know if he did that this week or maybe early or late last week. He mentioned I overheard this in the Theo and Harris conversation that Theo was having with Harris. They basically, Jean-Claude Biver was had some sort of bicycle accident, and he figured he wanted to open up a brand under his own name, maybe something that's his own child, not kind of like Blancpain or Hublot, but something that is his own baby. And I was thinking, I don't get it. I don't get why. So this is my unpopular opinion. I don't get why people rally behind Jean-Claude Biver. I mean, he's a really nice guy, very charming character. I've watched and listened to many interviews from him, but he basically, and he's an excellent, a lot of qualifiers here because it is an unpopular opinion. He's an excellent business personality.
Mm-hmm.
But he resurrected a dead brand. So this is, I don't know how different this is from what Yema has done, right? Maybe without the brain power of Jean-Claude Biver, maybe with Yema, but he resurrected a dead brand, Blancpain. He used a slogan. What was the slogan? We've never made a quartz watch. We never will ever.
Yeah, something like that.
And whatever, man. It's not real. It's a brand that died and was cobbled back together, and they're riding on dead valor from at least this is why I can't get into Blancpain. And maybe there are a lot of brands like that, but and then the other thing is Hublot. It's Hublot. It's gaudy and it's really I don't. So my unpopular opinion, I don't get why this guy Jean-Claude Biver, as nice of a guy as he is held up to this high standard, and everyone's waiting with bated breath for his brand. I don't get it. Does anyone want to at me for that?
Rick is saying in the chat he agrees with you.
Oh,
So you
sweet.
have someone with
Okay.
you right there.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
yeah, that's not no small no small thing to have Rick behind me. That's pretty nice. Actually, I would be behind Rick because Rick is way over there, and I'm way down here. All right. Anyway, yeah, Keith, any thoughts on that?
I'm not even that familiar with them, honestly.
No.
So I can't. I find it interesting how some brands are resurrected and looked down upon for that, and some aren't. And there doesn't seem any be rhyme or reason for which one is which, except for good marketing, I guess. But yeah, I'm not that familiar with him, and he doesn't show up in any. I don't hear interviews, or he doesn't show up on podcasts or YouTube videos I watch personally, so I don't know a ton about him.
He had a great interview with the Scottish Watches guys a couple of years ago. So definitely recommend you guys go check that one out. He was so animated, maybe it's because it's his character. Maybe because he's such a lovable guy, he's so excited and he has this great outlook on life. And maybe that's it. Not nothing to do with the brand itself or the games that have been played and in resurrecting it. But yeah, who knows? Torrin, do you have any thoughts on Blancpain, Hublot, and Jean-Claude Biver?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the stuff I've read from him, it's mostly more from a marketing perspective, and
Right.
I think the Time Teller actually put out a pretty good video recently, maybe yesterday, just about JC Bever and his influence, not just on like resurrecting Blancpain, but prior to that, his working with Omega, and he actually drew an interesting parallel I wasn't aware of, like the whole association with Omega and James Bond. Apparently, JC Bever was like instrumental in that marketing, and it became super popular in pop culture, right? So I think he's good at has a lot of foresight in terms of making brands relatable to like the masses and marketing it really well. And it's been a really strong collaboration with Omega. And then I think he's also done a lot to help out not just Hublot but Tag Heuer as well. Which is, I mean, again, that's more of a brand that I think that's for non-watch enthusiasts. Like it's marketed more to the masses, right? So I thought it was interesting that he wanted to take on making his own brand, because I thought in the Hodinkee article it touched on like his love of horology and things like that. But for me, I was just it was more of a marketing play than anything. But I'm not, to be honest, I don't know too much about him. Other than more from his ability to help basically the big brands sell really well. Everything under his leadership, they said, increases sales between 3 to 5 times before the brand took him on. So he's really good at that. But yeah, I just think whatever he comes out with, I think it's going to have a good cult following for. But
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I thought it's strange because I don't know if he's doing it for the love of horology or just for the love of a legacy and for marketing like himself. But again, I might be a little naive to that.
Yeah. And I should also mention that I don't know a whole lot about him other than the interviews I've heard and listened to and watched of him. So yeah, it's just been one of those question marks, kind of like the question mark I have around what was that movement from Accutron, the electrostatic movement. Just a quick this is like a hobby horse for me, man. I just can't. I don't know if you guys watched sorry to jump like this, but I don't know if you guys watched the interview not the interview, but the podcast like show that TGV and Mark from Long Island Watch did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
They talked about the Accutron again because Mark was wearing it, and Mark said this is the next thing, the spring drive. Like this is after spring drive. I was like, no. I was driving, and I was like, what, Mark? You're an engineer, Mark. What are you saying? This is nothing. This is just a quartz watch with the new electricity generation method. It's nothing. Anyway, sorry.
You should have dedicated a whole episode of Watch Soup to that.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I just didn't want to. I was thinking about it. Yeah. Christian, most Blancpain will crap horologically on the best GS. Yes, I suppose so. But is it really Blancpain though? I don't know. Brian Show Don't Tell says, for what it's worth, Jean-Claude is open to alternate movements. Like off the shelf movements. Yeah, I've heard that. I agree with him. I think a lot of us get to that point where we think in-house is overrated, right? Greg, good to see you, Greg. Neff says, I don't think that's an unpopular opinion though. I'm glad Blancpain is still around. Yeah, it is good to have Blancpain around for sure. Same watch says, I think JCB has a good pulse on nexus between watches, pop culture, fashion, and marketing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, agreed. Wilson, Rick agrees, and the chat while you're at watching. Yeah, before this conversation delves down the Seiko rabbit hole. Junior Johnson saying he did a great job with Omega. Yes, I did neglect to mention that. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's keep going on. Peter says, I don't care if he starts a new brand, why not? Yeah, no fault on him for starting a new brand. All the more power to him. I was just thinking, why is everyone so excited?
I just think because like he's pioneered so many different companies, and this is probably going to generate a lot of buzz for watches, not just for enthusiasts, but for the masses.
Yeah.
Could be like the next like Apple Watch, right? But like mechanical.
Yeah. Bobby likes saying, so wait, he fell off a bike and now wants to start a watch brand. Yeah. I think the thought was that maybe he's 79, I think, and he was thinking about the fragility of life, maybe. So, yeah.
Your words of wisdom got to him.
Yeah.
Time is running out. You're all precious.
It's been pouring over my awful Grand Seiko videos. Keep in mind, although not the same as Blancpain, that Chopek was a brand that was restarted as well. Yes, I agree.
I think along those timelines too, right? Like a lot of brands went under because of Seiko, right, with the quartz crisis. So
yeah. Same watch says, I've seen a few electrostatic Accutrons in the metal. They have a ways to go before reaching spring drive level. Yeah. It's not even that. I don't think they ever can. Not with that movement. They got to do something special. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm just saying, man, it's just a quartz watch. It's a kinetic. It's just a kinetic with the kinetic rotor taken off and put an electrostatic engine in there, like an electrostatic generator. Take the rotor off, which is a generator on its own, right? It's copper coils turning in a magnetic field, generating electricity. That's what the kinetic rotor does. You take that out, put stuff rubbing against each other and causing electricity, which is grossly inefficient. Kinetic is more reliable. I just don't get it, guys.
figured.
I'll get off this horse. I'll get off this horse. Okay, 2 unpopular opinions. Wait, although I think the second one is a bit of a head scratcher for a bunch of people. Anyway, guys, Bobby Legs is asking what Torrent's drinking. What are you drinking, Torrent?
I'm drinking Sanjay's Tears. It's ginger ale.
Yeah, yeah. I'm drinking tea.
Where's the gold chalice?
Wouldn't work with tea, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'd burn my hands.
Conduct seat, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Keith, shall we go to one of your unpopular opinions?
Okay, it's unpopular. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
My unpopular opinion is no one in their 20s should buy a luxury watch.
Oh, that's a good.
And
good
the reason behind this, of course, is investing and how important it is to invest as early as possible, and just compound interest over time. The more valuable, the earlier it's in the market. So I think focus on investing in your 20s. Worry about your 30s for luxury watches. So I crunched some numbers before the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you were to put $5,000 in the market at age 25 at 7% compound interest, which is pretty standard, take it out at age 65, $74,000. So to me, it's like you're not spending $5,000 at age 25, you're spending $74,000 if you think of it that way. $10,000 at age 25 would work out to $150,000 at age 65. So unless you're super wealthy, unless you're one of Elon Musk's kids and money has no value because you have an infinite amount of it, maybe hold off, buy your Timex or your Hamilton in your 20s, enjoy that. In your 30s, go a little crazy.
Okay. Well, before we get into discussing that, I just wanted to. Where'd that comment go? Oh, Benjamin was asking if we will have Paul Thorpe on the channel anytime. I messaged him on Instagram a couple of times and no response. So I don't know what's happening there. He said he wanted.
Doesn't agree Grand Seiko is the best.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. just to set the record straight there, but yeah. Oh well. But so answer you, Keith. I disagree.
Oh, feel free.
I know. And the reason why I
salty
disagree.
tonight, man. Jeez.
Sanjay disagrees with everyone.
The reason why I disagree, okay, is because you're not guaranteed to make it to 75 or 65.
The only issue with the argument is if you don't survive until age 65.
Yeah.
But let's, a lot of people do. Most people do.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, would you be like, oh, if I only bought more watches? On your deathbed, would you be like, oh, if I just had that extra watch, I would have enjoyed my life so much more? I doubt it, but I'm just speaking for myself. So
yeah. And my point of view, I think, leads to a very hedonistic, self-pleasing kind of attitude if you don't keep it in check. Because you think, hey, what if I'm not here tomorrow? I would want everything, I would want to enjoy the stuff that I have, basically. And what if I'm not here next week? Or, just stuff like that. I think it's a good way to live because you treasure the moments you have with your loved ones more, like every single day. And you treasure the stuff that you do have. But then you also go and, blow up your collection every few months and
that hit close to home.
Yeah.
Now it's easy for me to say this. I wasn't into watches when I was in my 20s, so that helps. And I'm really good at taking the fun out of everything. So this is just another example of me doing that. But yeah, I've always been a good saver. I wish I was a better investor early on in my life. So take what I've learned and apply it to yourself. I'm not a certified financial advisor. Take this with a grain of salt or whatever.
No, I mean, it's wise. It's very, very wise counsel, and I do agree with you in the grand scheme of things. It's better to invest than to splurge on yourself, which is gone like that, versus something that you would have to look forward to. But then you're older. You got this money, but I don't know where I'm going with that.
And you could afford to live when you're old and can't work anymore. But this semantics.
Yeah, I mean,
Some
retirement.
guy's not retiring. His retirement plan is to drive around with a bunch of watches in his trunk.
Yeah. I don't ever intend to retire. I don't see that as an option for me. I don't like that idea, really. I like working. I like doing
You don't
this
like
stuff.
the idea of retiring, you said?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow, man. I would retire today if I could.
Yeah. No, I'd
Spoiler,
always
I can't.
yeah. I'd always do stuff though. And I think most people do. Like when
Yeah.
people retire, they do stuff.
You just
and that's-
refocus your life. You don't focus on work. You focus on other hobbies.
Yeah. I'm also really naive, guys. I'm a kid, basically. So take what I say with a huge grain of salt. Torin, do you have any thoughts on what Keith was saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that's it. I think based on principle, the parsimonious principle, that makes a lot of sense. I would offer a middle ground, maybe be kind of the mediator here and just say, I like the idea some brands kind of market like buying a watch after you graduate or you start your first job. But like, for example, Nomos has the Club Campus. And I think that's a good middle ground because it's kind of entry level luxury. And I mean, you're getting an in-house movement and a great watch, but you're not like, dropping crazy money on an Omega or Rolex. Unless you can buy a Rolex at retail, then that's your investment right there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to your point in terms of saving, like with my own watch journey, like for a number of years, I didn't really buy anything. My most expensive watch was like a Zen 104. And then as soon as I got my first like Omega Seamaster, that's when things really got crazy. Because once you break the threshold of like I can spend X amount on a watch, then it just like creeps higher and higher and higher. So I just think you need to prioritize, like make sure you're taking care of yourself and you can afford to spend like any liquid income, on a watch. Like you shouldn't be going into debt for a watch. Basically, is what I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Very wise. Very great advice there. Let's see here. Matthew Davis saying just invest in Rolex, triple your money in no time. Yeah. It always goes up until it comes down. Peter says he likes salty Sanjay. I didn't know I was being salty. I guess I am being kind of salty with the Accutron. Okay, I'm not getting into that. Only one watch in the end. The exit watch. I hear you. If the train is going at 150 miles per hour west and the plane's going 150 miles per hour west, which one will get there first?
Please don't ask me math questions. I use an online calculator to calculate those numbers.
Yeah.
Did the work for me.
And I'm saying Keith's logic is very good. James Duffy says, had I invested in my 20s, my reckless luxury watch purchases would not have stung as much. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you'd have so much more money to buy watches later in life.
Mm-hmm.
One might say you might now have a bit of a collection. From some great maisons, like Longines.
Like Longines, yeah. Best value right there.
Yeah. Rick saying, I purchased my first Rolex at 26 after reaching a financial milestone. Pretty common rationale for buying your first luxury watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to pick a certain time frame, so I thought 20 sounded good.
Yeah. Keith, your new nickname is Sweatpants because you're in the mood.
Yeah, anyone's feeling good about anything, just give me a call. I'll bring it right down.
Yeah.
I'll bum you out in no time.
Scott Charlo has a good opinion here. My deal: for every dollar I put into watches, I also put in the stock market.
Yeah.
Smart.
Sarmad says a fool in his 20s is proven a fool in his 30s. I certified fool system. That's a good one. Neff says Sanjay will have no retirement. This is what I'm hearing. Maybe I have a different connotation of retirement. I don't know. Just like I had a different connotation of flamboyant from the other night. I don't know if you guys heard, but Clayton and I was describing myself as a bit flamboyant, and people in the chat were like, I don't think you know what that word means. So, yeah.
I think it means multiple things.
Yeah.
I think you had the
Very
right idea.
different
Wait, can you put that comment back up from Kevin S?
Yeah.
I will say I eat plain oatmeal every morning, and I've done that for years. Now, the plain quick oats, none of this like Quaker oats with a bunch of sugar stuff. It's the plain quick oats, peanut
Wow.
butter, cinnamon, and banana. And that's been if the bananas are no good, switch to raisins. But either way, that's been my breakfast for years. So Kevin's right on with that one.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like it's really affordable to feed you.
It is, yeah.
It's very predictable, yeah.
Rick says retirement is awesome. I'm still really busy. Yeah. I what I said was really flippant, saying,
Well, I mean,
I want to keep doing stuff.
I've talked to people who've retired and they regretted doing it and came back to work. So it's different for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I intend to work until I can. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bobby Lex. Not these kids' college friend. Yeah. They will be taken care of.
Caveat to working while you can. Sometimes you don't get to disabilities, things like that. A lot of people are forced to retire who want to keep working. So, don't have that option.
Yeah.
Again, I'm bringing you down, Sanjay. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'd have to have like a head injury for that, which I mean is possible. So, because I'll work with a full body cast. I can still do that. as long as if this steel trap over here keeps working, you get to go.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Keep working on memorizing those Grand Seiko references to keep your mind sharp.
You better believe it.
You got a lot more to memorize now.
Yeah. There's more
press releases. Yeah.
I think I've given up. All right. Poppy legs again. Peanut butter with oatmeal, cinnamon, and honey. So you put the peanut butter in the oatmeal?
Right in there.
Oh, okay.
Scoop it out, and you don't want to mix it up too much because you want some thick scoops of peanut butter with each bite. Don't just mix it all in there. That's a rookie mistake I made.
Right. See, I don't have specific meals for breakfast. I'll eat whatever is in the fridge.
Oh no, I can't do that.
I'll eat rice and
oh boy,
spaghetti in the morning, pizza, whatever's in there.
No. I need that taste of breakfast when I wake up, and I can't move on until lunch until I have that taste of breakfast, even if it's just the banana or something. I'm sure everyone's tuned out by now. I can't believe people are still in the chat.
Let's keep going.
Right, let's talk about pens. No.
Yeah. So new in my pen collection here. No, I'm just messing around. Torin, do you have an unpopular opinion you'd like to share with us that you might have thought of?
I mean, I didn't have one planned, but we can talk about Oris and their 10-day power reserve.
Yeah. What's
I think the price is justified. $9,500. It's high horology. Oris developed the movement specifically for the case of that watch, and they specifically made it a skeletonized movement. And I don't think you see it, like if you were to compare it to say like an IWC 8-day power reserve model, nobody would have any problem trying to justify the price.
Well, how does it
I
compare to
disagree.
something like the Zenith Defy skeleton on price and movement? I don't know enough about the Zenith, but does it compare to it? Is one clearly better than the other in your mind, or?
Pardon? Over the Zenith?
Yeah, like the Zenith Defy skeleton dial. I feel like they're somewhat similar watches, integrated bracelet, unique movements, I believe. I don't know how similar the prices are, but do they
I
compare
think
at
the
all?
Zenith is probably better finished and would hold its value better, but I still think, I mean, I think Oris, I mean, people are just used to paying a much lower price for Oris. So I just feel like, I don't know, they get a lot of hate for it. And
I mean, it's every brand. People are used to spending however much that brand is, and if they go beyond that, it's not justified no matter what the watch is. I mean, look at micro brands who try and charge in the thousands. Like, I've for Manta, I've heard so much that I would never spend that much on a micro brand, and it had nothing to do with how good the watch is. And I can't comment on Manta because I've never seen one, but that doesn't just because you're a micro brand or a newer watch brand doesn't mean you can't charge what the watch should be worth. So the same goes for Oris in that watch.
Yeah.
But,
And it's just for that specific person, right? So yeah, if someone says, hey, I would never spend that much on an Oris or a Manta, then hey, that's fine. That watch is not for you. But
right.
there are people who would. Right? There are still people who buy egregiously priced Seikos, for instance, like $5,000 Seiko divers, right?
like many people in this chat, yeah.
There's some strange folk out there, who are willing to do that, right?
We won't name names.
Yep.
But there's some people out there.
Yeah, really odd folk.
Now, I
But
should caveat this by saying, like, one, I don't know how popular that specific movement in the Pro Pilot X, like, I can't remember what the caliber is. I think it's like X15, 115 or something like that. I don't know that
Yeah.
they've actually migrated that into other watches or if the long-term plan was to do that. I feel like it could have been because I thought there was a ghost date position in the Pro Pilot X, even though there's no like date there. So I thought they tried to build in more innovation for that movement to go forward. And to my knowledge, they haven't followed through with that. So it might not have landed with a lot of consumers, but I like that they took that risk, even though it's a small sample size.
Well, all things considered, though, it hasn't been that long since that specific movement came out. Like maybe 2 years. I think it's about a little over 2 years now that since the Pro Pilot X came out with the 113, I think, caliber 113.
Maybe it's 113. It was 11 something. I thought it was 5, but
yeah, maybe it was 5. I probably wouldn't call it high virology. And in the end, you can get. I'm grossly oversimplifying here, but you can get a higher power reserve with a bigger spring, right? All you got to do is move some parts around to make the space for a giant spring, which is kind of what they did. I mean, they have this massive like barrel, with and the problems with the earlier caliber 11 series was the fact that there was like a gross inconsistency in the power band, like in accuracy. So it would be really accurate when it's fully around. As time went on, it would get less accurate, more accurate, and there was that problem. I think they mitigated a lot of that in the 113.
I think they stated in the marketing materials that if it goes below 2 days, the power band fluctuates more. But to that same extent, like it's actually a 12-day power reserve. They just put 10 days on the dial. So you can get those extra 2 days, but it's going to be less accurate.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very interesting watch.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I don't think it's an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people are very impressed with Caliber 400, the 113. There are quite a few people out there who are very impressed with the work Oris is doing. So, back into the chat here, we got Sarmad saying spring drives are quartz parts hidden under mechanical beauty. It's quartz without a battery. Spring drives are quartz without battery. Well, it's a little bit of an oversimplification, but yeah. More like a quartz regulation method with a traditional spring driven watch, spring drive, right? But yeah, it's close. Keith living on the edge.
Always.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're talking about the breakfast there. I treat breakfast like I do well. I skip lunch.
That's awesome.
I have my breakfast usually is a Jamaican patty.
Oh, yeah?
It's
I don't
super
even know what that
easy.
is.
You've never had a Jamaican patty? Oh,
Never
man.
heard of it.
No, they're
Oh,
good.
man. Yeah.
Now, question: how do you prepare it? Do you microwave it? Do you put it in the oven? There's different
microwave.
preparations.
It's I eat while I'm working, so I just take a frozen Jamaican patty, throw it in the microwave, run back to my desk, work, run back, eat and work.
You,
and,
you can't wait for the microwave?
Yeah.
No,
I got
can't
so
wait
much
for
to
the
do. The microwave.
Oh man, mushrooms! I'm telling you.
Yeah, those shrooms.
They
It's
gotta
crazy
go
Wait
up.
for no
world,
man.
Yeah, using the stock markets. No, it's pretty hectic, but I usually have Jamaican patty. It's the one food that I haven't got sick of.
Now, were they big in Sri Lanka where you were, or was
No.
this more of a North American thing? Okay.
It's for me at least. It's a North American thing. Not sure if it's over in like Europe, England. Not sure if it's popular over there.
Hmm.
Same watch says breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Floppy legs or some out.
Yeah, I
Fair.
feel like in our little watch bubble, there's a lot of Oris haters, but in the grand scheme of watch enthusiasts, they seem to like Oris. I don't really understand why, but
Yeah, I wouldn't call Rob an Oris hater. More of an Oris uninterested.
Yeah.
Dan says I like the ProPilot X in person. It's their flagship model. Yeah. James Duffy, black coffee and plain oatmeal guy. Ooh, man.
I started skipping breakfast because I'm doing this like intermittent fasting thing.
Okay.
I'll just have coffee.
I could eat paper mache too, but I like a little flavor.
well, you put water in it. It's not.
Yeah.
It softens up.
Yeah. Rick says probably true Torin, but no way I'm ever spending 9K on an Oris. Matthew Davis, for Oris, it's a great Halo watch. It is. Christian, unpopular opinion, JLC has lost its way. All the modern stuff is trash compared to the 90s or even early 2000s. Huh? Strong opinion. I don't know if I know enough to comment. I'm not too familiar with a lot of JLCs, just their reverso. I know a little bit about their memo box. But yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts on JLC?
Like you, I haven't experienced them too much in person, but I do find brands like JLC rest on their laurels a lot. And they could do more to like innovate in modern times.
Yeah. Easy Clayton says no Oris is worth that much. They need to stay in their lane. Scott Tarlow, I think Oris is overpriced on almost every watch. Whew.
For the record, guys, my plan was to trade up to that watch. So like I wouldn't dish out 9.5K money.
Yeah. I mean, ideally you'd get like 40% off.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I thought too.
Yeah. Neff, I don't agree. See no reason Oris or any other brand can at least attempt to move up market. I think they are. I think they successfully are. They're slowly, turning up the heat, turning up the prices. Their new pointer dates are a bit more expensive than they used to be.
They're really
26.
nice.
Yeah, they're really nice. So keep moving up, just like Seiko. Seiko's a bit more aggressive. Kevin S says you can move up if you really offer something for the increased prices. Yeah. Rick says there are people who buy 30K Grand Seikos or 60K Omega. Just not smart people. Oh, hey, come on. Yeah.
Are you still gunning for that gold stunning Grand Seiko?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, when Paul told me you could get a Patek for that, I was like, oh.
That burst your bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you get these blinders. I know I get these blinders on. You forget everything else that's out there, and you see the price, and you think, okay, that's the price. But then when someone actually smacks you over the head and says, hey, think, it's a bit of an eye opener. Rick says Karan is here. Karan is here. Oh yeah, Karan is here. Hey Karan, hope you're doing well. Peter loves Jamaican patties. Oh, Same Watch does not know what Jamaican patties are. Okay. Justin says more of a Jamaican thing. Yeah. I suppose so. All right. So maybe it's like a Canadian thing. Canadian and Jamaican thing, maybe. We've got like Jamaican patty places all over the place. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah. Surprising.
Yeah. Easy Clayton says Jamaican patty is a hot pocket. Kinda. But actually good, All right, I'm gonna skip down because it seems like we're way behind. Oh, not too far back. Rick says check out JLC Reverso Nonetium. I'll have to look that up. All right, so let's keep going. My unpopular opinion. One more unpopular opinion. I think, for the most part, NATO's look good on any watch. I don't necessarily enjoy NATO's. I prefer leather straps, but I think they look good. I can appreciate them. Excuse me. I think I can appreciate the way they look and enjoy someone else wearing it. So it doesn't really offend me when I see it. I was wearing my Constellation on this NATO strap today, and it looks so good. It didn't feel the greatest, but on most watches, I think they look good. Wilson asking NATO on a Langa.
It's a great Instagram.
Probably a limit to how great NATO's are. I feel like a lot of watches which are actually dress watches, maybe not. Like say a Patek Calatrava, some of the maybe Grand Seiko, really small, like elegant dress watches, probably not a great look. But most other watches are theoretically kind of sport watches that we call dress watches. Like the Constellation is a bit of a sports watch. Some people would call it a dress watch, but yeah, definitely no NATO on a JLC Reverso. Marcus, good to see you, by the way. That would not look good. But for the most part,
that wouldn't even work. Like you couldn't get the Reverso to function.
Oh, it would still work.
Would it? I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Because there's the body and then the
I guess
part flipped over. It would not look good. But most watches out there are basically field watches, right? Most watches have at least 50 meters of water resistance. Most have loom, and I think NATO's look good on a lot of those watches, and even Milanese mesh straps look pretty good. And it's like a big no-no to put those on. So that's one of my unpopular opinions. I think they look good. I'm not, yeah, like Rick says here, I'm not a NATO guy either. He says I'm not a NATO guy, but agree they often look nice in many watches. Yeah, I can appreciate them, but 10 times out of 10, I will go with a leather strap or something else that's really nice. Lately I've been kind of into sailcloth straps, but I prefer 10 times out of 10 I would go leather. But yeah. Any thoughts, Keith?
I would say based on the picture you posted earlier today of your Omega on the NATO, I would have to disagree with you.
Ooh, shots fired.
Maybe it was the color combination, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah. Here, let me share screen here. But yeah, keep going. What
Well, I was just
didn't
gonna
work?
say, yeah. I mean, your opinion's not popular for a reason. I wouldn't put it on a dress watch, a NATO.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'd work for some of them.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks good, man. I don't know what you did. I don't know. I get it. I mean, it doesn't look good on my wrist, right? I can't do NATOs because they make the watch tower over my wrist, and it doesn't look good on my wrist. I concede. But
It's not terrible. Yeah, I wouldn't personally do it, but it's not terrible.
No. All right. That's fair. It's fair. How about you, Torrin? What do you think?
I don't disagree. I find that NATO's it's an easy way to add color or to kind of complement your watch.
Yeah.
But just like you, I don't wearing them. I frequently don't do it that often. I find probably Sanjay and I are on like opposite sides of extremes when it comes to like wrist size and trying to tuck back the excess NATO. Like for me, it's always just a little too short to fold back through like both of the keepers kind of. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they look good like on photos, like on Instagram and stuff. I have no problem with it, but yeah, wearing it's not very comfortable for me unless it's a really thin field watch or like pilot's watch.
Yeah. Well said. Now, also not a fan of NATOs here. Caliber YKG, unpopular opinion, but I agree with you, Sanjay. I like NATOs. Wore my Zin 556 on one this morning. Agree. Not
Yeah,
on.
see, 556 is a NATO strap monster.
Yeah. Yeah, but some people, I guess, would call that a dress watch. I guess I don't. It's a field watch. And most Grand Seikos, they look dressy, but they got 100 meters water resistance, screw down crown. They're they're built tough.
I put my game changer for me. I put my Seiko Sarb 035 on a couple of different NATOs, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I used to wear when I had my Sarb 35. Is that the black one? No, the
33 is the black one.
33. I had a 35, and I used to wear that on a lot of NATOs too.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Eric, good to see you. He says, I don't think you should ever put a NATO on a dress watch. Kind of defeats the purpose of why NATOs were made. Yeah, I agree. Just to clarify, like when I said dress watches, I meant, what we call dress watches today, which are basically field watches. Easy Clayton said NATOs go great in trash cans. Karan says NATO straps are like hot pockets. Leather straps are like Jamaican patties. That's good.
In high school, I lived on Hot Pockets. I feel like I haven't had one in like probably 15 years, but way too many.
Sorry, I was just getting the context on that comment you showed.
NATO on a Vostok?
Yeah,
I see a problem here.
There. That's a little geopolitical right now.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh. Yeah.
I was going to chime in something on, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to.
Plain oatmeal just got spicy. Oh, man. All right. Neff says no, looks bad. Sorry, Sanjay. Oh, Yeah, okay. I understand. Some people liked it, but all right. I'm sorry, guys. I won't put that picture up again.
You got to show a picture of a Jamaican patty for the folks in the chat.
Yeah, I should do that. Okay, Jamaican patty. Sorry, I know I said I wouldn't show that picture again, but
It's fine.
things happen. Jamaican patty. I'm sure you guys have to have seen this, right? Like I mean, once I moved to Canada, this was everywhere.
It's
really
I've
really
never
good
seen
stuff.
that before. I don't think.
No.
It's like that's what I lived on as a teenager. I feel like my brother and I would go like play sports or go to karate practice, and my parents would just nuke some Jamaican patties afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, Sam Watch. He likes it. There you go. Roy Jr. says Nato was okay, but the pen was awesome. Yeah, I really like that pen. Dan says Nick Mankey is great in NATO. Yeah, for sure. All right. Jeff says Keith ain't
That's going to replace your oatmeal for breakfast.
Yeah. Right? I actually don't eat meat, so I wouldn't eat it anyways.
And Rick hasn't heard of Jamaican patties either. Okay. BJ says they look like empanadas.
Kind of do,
yeah,
but
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Bruno, good to see you. He says I knew a girl from Jamaica and her name was Patty. That's the count. Oh,
I've been to Jamaica.
But yeah. So in like high school, we used to walk to high school, and there's a Jamaican patty store. They put the Jamaican patty in a bun called a cocoa bun, and yeah, it would be $1, and it would fill you up. It would be the cheapest way to have a full meal. So yeah, good stuff. Good old days. Anyway, we were going to talk about some collection, like cereal collecting. I don't know if you guys want to tackle that real quick. Basically,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Basically, what I was going to talk about was, I don't know if you guys heard Watch Soup last week, but I was talking about the Wii U. Nintendo is discontinuing the service for Wii U, so everyone, as in people who own Wii U's, are kind of panicking and getting their games downloaded, and even though there's like a whole year to go, and I started doing that too. I bought a few Wii U's, so like I have spare parts for my Wii U, and it's like it's like a treasured console, like a window into childhood almost. But so I was picking up some of these games, and I just started collecting a bunch of games. Like I have a significant game collection, and I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna play these. Like I don't have the time to play any of this, but I like having them, and it brought me back to thinking about collecting stamps, collecting this that and the other, where you just collect stuff, and there's no purpose for those things per se, but except for the fact that they're there and they're in your collection. And I kind of have a bit of a collection of games now that I know I'm not going to get to play, nor do I really want to play, but I like having them. I thought that was really weird, and yeah, I was trying to figure out if if this collection thing is something that just moves on from games to watches to pens, as it did with me, to knives, and if we all have like this kind of gene, some sort of obsessive gene that makes us go like head first into a hobby. Do you guys have any experience when it comes to these things?
Well, I'm the exact opposite. So I do consider myself to be a minimalist, which I know sounds pretentious, but it's true. I don't collect anything, and I don't like having stuff in the house that I'm not using or that's you know, in my opinion, not adding value to me, which means something different. Like it sounds like it does add value to you because you like having it there, even though you may not use it. For me, if I'm not using something right away, I want to get rid of it.
Right.
Almost to an unhealthy degree because, you know, I live with someone who's not like that, and sometimes I get rid of stuff, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have kept that. But yeah, the last thing I collected was when I was a teenager. I had a big collection of CDs because I love music, and that was the only way to hear music. But once,
Right.
you know, my collection, which I still have, I can't get myself to, it's like the one thing I can't get myself to get rid of. And it stops in like 2004 when, you know, the internet started being a bigger thing for music. And
Right.
yeah, I just can't bring myself to keep stuff around that I'm not. So luckily I don't have this gene that keeps people from going to one collection to the other. But I don't know. What about you, Torin?
Yeah.
I collect watch experiences.
Oh.
No, but you're right. I think there's a generational thing. Like, you know, growing up as a teenager before the advent of all this technology, right? Like, my brother and I would collect a lot of cards. We used to be like heavily, we would play some card games. Like, have you ever played Magic the Gathering?
I haven't. I've heard of it.
Yeah, you've heard. I don't know. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. So like, or like the Pokemon card game and stuff like that. So when all that stuff came out, like we were serial collectors of those things.
You should have seen the binders of Pokemon cards they used to have. Like,
man, if I just had some of those like holographic Charizards right now, I'd be rich.
Yeah.
But
I had those.
did you?
I sold them like by the binder. I was just like, okay, I'm done with these, and I just sold them all.
That's the thing. Like it was a phase, and then like I immediately dumped it afterward. I should have hung on to some of the stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then more recently, like I don't know. Aside from watches, and feeding into the YouTube channel, I've been getting more into photography. So I find myself collecting like I have a couple of cameras, and I just keep buying like different lenses, and like half of them I don't even really utilize. And I should be more like regimented and learn more about how to use them and the different focal lengths and the benefits. But sometimes I'll just jump on it because it's a good deal, or like I envision myself, yeah, I could really use it for this specific shot or like for a video, but I never really do. So it's kind of where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it's just having stuff around that you're not using. Not only is it physical clutter, it turns, at least for me, into mental clutter. Like it's just, I find I'm just more relaxed around less things. But some people, like my wife, she likes to have her favorite things, you know, around her. So it's kind of like the opposite thinking, and different things work for different people. I see someone saying in the chat, how do we define a minimalist watch enthusiast? One watch. And I think this is a cop out, but it's different for everyone. I have 4 watches. I still consider myself a minimalist. I could have more and still consider myself that way. But
well, you are compared to a lot of people in
true.
the chat, or
especially for a watch enthusiast, 4 is pretty small.
And you could go out and get a Grand Seiko Winter, but you haven't. Right? I think that
true.
That speaks to your minimalism. And you could go out and get a Yachtmaster. But was it a Yachtmaster? Sea Dweller.
the Yachtmaster?
No, yeah. See, I have a love of rose gold and black watches, and that there's the Yachtmaster 40mm rose gold Rolex, which I just think looks amazing. There's the Root Beer all rose gold, I think looks amazing. I was at the AD last time. They had an all rose gold Daytona along with the bracelet with black sub dials. It was like $82,000. That was the price on it. Obviously, I would not buy that. But it just like something about rose gold. I want to find a way to have. The problem with liking rose gold is it's expensive. You know, I could go plate it or something, but I don't even know a decent watch that's.
Nothing like eating your oatmeal with a rose gold Rolex on your wrist.
I could never, for so many reasons, I just can't get myself to spend that money. One is I'd be afraid to wear it because I'd be afraid of dinging it up. I'd be afraid of getting robbed, someone taking it, you know, off my wrist. So
yeah,
Just, but I could enjoy it from afar.
Yeah. I think that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
James Duffy says he's a longtime toy collector and a book collector. Yeah. I have a bunch of books in the lower shelves here. Yeah. I got into that too. Let's see. Hobby Bobby giving you props. You have good discipline, Keith.
There's a
Rick-
lot of anguish and self-loathing that goes along with all this. So
Yeah.
I'm not exactly, above anyone else by a long shot. So
Rick says I don't collect anything beyond watches and wine, but I drink the wine eventually. Bruno says 100% Sanjay. I went from coins, stamps, firearms, trumpets, baseball gloves, knives, pocket watches, wristwatches. Wow. Once a collector, always a collector. Yeah. Let's see. Peter C says I have an old LP collection. Just never got rid of them, but nothing other than watches right now. Yeah. Or watch M. I thought that was RN for right now, but
sorry, not to get on a huge tangent, but the reason I can't get rid of my CDs is because, like, what if, like, even if I have the songs backed up on a hard drive, what if I lose that and the apps shut down and then I have no music? I don't know. I got to get myself to get rid of them somehow, but because they're worthless too. It's not like I could sell them. So I'm just gonna throw in.
I don't know. I like the
CDs.
cover art on a lot of CD albums too, right?
Right.
Like, some of them are pretty cool.
It's just so funny. I used to be so careful with not bending the cover and reading the lyrics, not getting fingerprints on it, and now they're like completely worthless to me. I wish I didn't even have them. It's like
when
I could have just enjoyed it.
When I used to collect games and game paraphernalia, I was telling my wife about this recently. Actually, I had this really limited edition 3DS. It was a Fire Emblem. If you guys are in the gaming world, you kind of might know, but it was a Fire Emblem 3DS, beautiful blue. I would wear gloves while playing with it, and I had the plastic, like not the plastic, but the tracing paper protector thing that goes between the two screens because it's a clamshell. So I would have that tracing paper in there, and it would be wrapped in a cloth. And so I'd take the bus, right, to go visit my parents and in the subway and stuff like that. So put my gloves on, take this thing out, open it up, and make a spectacle of myself while getting ready to play a game. I was glad I did that because I sold that for quite a bit of profit later on, but because it was immaculate.
It's like I hear the original iPhone or iPods are going for crazy money right now. Like if you have like a first gen iPhone or like the original iPod, thousands of dollars.
I can believe that. Yeah.
I know we're going long here, but I find it endearing that you're into the Wii U because that's like known as like a failure for Nintendo. I don't know. It's like this what's what I'm looking for, kind of like clumsy pad controller thing, and they've re-released all the games on the Switch because no one bought them for the Wii U. So you're going strong. You just get a Switch, but nope.
Oh, I did get a Switch, actually.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been playing Mario Kart a lot.
Yeah.
You have Mario Kart?
No, I don't.
Okay. I was gonna have to school you in it, but okay, I guess you don't have it. So.
I can school you on N64 Mario Kart.
Yeah. GameCube for me.
Oh, GameCube is the best one,
yeah. But I should get your Nintendo Network ID so we can be friends. But yeah, the Wii U was really unpopular. But the other thing on top of all that was that the discs, they are known to corrupt themselves. Like you just leave them in a box and they just get corrupted. So you're kind of rolling the dice.
That's crazy.
Yeah. One of my games just stopped working.
Oh boy.
I don't know why, but the rest.
So you must have like a room where it's temperature controlled, humidity controlled. They're locked away.
No, they're actually up on top of a shelf with a bunch of silica gel packs to to keep it dry.
Oh, no.
But yeah. Pete's here. Good to see you, Pete. Says minimalist watch enthusiasts have no watches. Watch enthusiast has no watches, but still loves them.
I will agree
Right.
to disagree.
Yeah. Pete, asking a quick question. If there's time, do you think your tastes are changing, or are you uncovering your true tastes as you mature in the hobby? That's a great question. What do you guys think? Torin?
What, the taste and watch collection?
Yeah. Do you feel like your tastes have changed from when you started, or do you think you're
No, I
maturing?
think they have changed. Thanks to you, Sanjay. Well, and like the availability of Grand Seiko models I've become to see, like I'm more attracted now to dressier watches. Like all my Grand Seikos now have like no loom, and like their dials are more intricate and stuff. And I used to be very utilitarian, like I loved the military or like tool type watches, and I still like them a lot, but now I'm really drawn to dressier watches, quote unquote. So that's a fairly recent evolution for me. So I'm still growing into, I think my taste is still kind of changing, but evolving in a good way.
Yeah. I feel like I think that's a really interesting question, because I think I'm actually uncovering my true tastes, because before I knew anything about watches, I knew I was into dress watches more so than any of the other watches. So I wasn't really into pilot's watches or dive watches. I really liked simple dress watches, or dressy watches, simple watches, um, and I didn't like bracelets. But then when I got into the hobby, I felt like I had to be into bracelets, and I became super into bracelets. Like I remember when I was just entering the hobby, I'd go into a watch store and say, "Does this come on a strap?" So I'd be looking at a watch and I'd be trying it on, and they'd be like, "Well, what do you think of that?" And I'd be like, "Does it come on a strap? I don't really like this." And as I got into the hobby, I got into bracelets, and I had to have a bracelet. And now I'm going back kind of to what it used to be. I really like dress watches. I don't feel like I have to have a dive watch or a pilot's watch or anything like that. Um, I'm okay with having only dress watches, or dressy watches, I should say. And I couldn't care less if there was no bracelet. And yeah, it's kind of liberating. And I feel like I'm just you know unearthing myself again, like deprogramming myself after getting into the hobby and getting kind of programmed into one way. But yeah, that's a good question, and kind of spitballing. I haven't really thought about that too deeply, Pete, but I feel like you hit a nerve there. In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Keith?
I think my tastes have kind of been the same. When I first started, I was more into like the minimalist Bauhaus design, big surprise, and kind of moved away from that. And it's kind of been the same. But then recently, Amin and Joe got their Ketelars. I told them that made me question everything I enjoy, all my tastes. And when I saw I was just been so impressed by those watches that I was like, went back to looking at the usual watches I look like, and it's just, I'm like, oh, it's not the same now. I know that those are out there, but I've kind of stuck to the more sporty / dressy style watch for the most part. I always say I have boring tastes, but so I'll continue to be boring. Torin, you?
Hey, boring's good. Boring is yeah, you might call it boring, but I find you interesting, Keith.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. Well, I think we've overstayed our welcome a little bit. So, yeah, it was great chatting with you guys. Great chatting with you, Keith and Torin. Everyone in the chat. Wilson, well, I see that.
Yeah, I think the reason. Sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but I think the reason my tastes haven't changed. I think it's too early to tell for me. For one, And for 2, I just don't experience as many watches as other people do, so I don't get the chance to try something, and maybe I wouldn't necessarily be into. So who knows what will happen?
Yeah. And on that bombshell,
Okay.
I was trying to do a Jeremy Clarkson thing there. Oh, well. Yeah, guys. Thanks all for joining us. Torrin, do you have anything coming up this week?
Yeah, I was lent in a couple of watches from the Singapore micro brand MMI, so
Okay.
I'm going to have a review dropping on this is called their turret watch. It's kind of cool. They replaced the date cutout
Oh,
with like a turret.
oh, there we go.
It's brutal. Okay, so anyways, yeah, it's just kind of like a brand diver. They got a date wheel, like instead of an actual date cutout, and a couple of other reviewers on the Discord and people here probably looked at these watches before. So I think Random Rob's reviewed a few of their models. So yeah, so that'll be dropping in a couple of days if you guys want to check it out. But
cool, great Trosca review, by the way. I caught that this morning.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. The Trasca Freediver.
Yeah. Keith, anything new coming up? Anyone you'd like to promote?
No, nothing. And I promise I will never talk about oatmeal again.
No, that was
But
great.
yeah, I can't think of anything.
You haven't lived until you tried a Jamaican patty, although I know you don't eat meat. So
it's like the conversation my wife and I have in the mornings. She enjoys her oatmeal, and I'm like, "How do you eat that cardboard?" It's
Yeah, my wife can't eat it.
Yeah,
not for her.
Yeah. So for me, we've got Watch Soup coming tomorrow. Gonna be maybe a lighter Watch Soup. There weren't that many videos that I got to see this week, but hopefully gonna have Rob back on the show and have an OG Watch Soup again. That'll be cool. I do love chatting with Rob. So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, I don't really have anything coming up. Tuesday is going to be Tuesday Night Watch Talk with the guys on Bobby Leg's YouTube channel. Random Rob is on Monday, I think. Still,
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's it. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for sticking with us. Really enjoyed chatting with you all in the chat, guys. Really do appreciate you all. You are very, very dear to me. And you guys too, of course, Keith and Torrin. You know that. All right, guys. Take care. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Good night.